We're early. Oh, let's get set up here. Here we go. Set up, set up. Okay. So, like I said, we're early, so I'm not going to quite start this yet. We're just going to wait for a little bit here. Oh, you guys are already joining. Holy shit, that was quick, guys. Cheers to you, you fucking early birds. I love you guys. So this week, I want to do things a little different. I want to make sure you guys are going down in the chat, because I want to know what NPCs you guys want to discuss. I have mine written out. There's a big clue as to who we're going to talk about at the very end behind me. But we've also got a whole whiteboard behind the camera that you guys can't see. I've got some notes on the tablet that I want to go over. I'm actually prepared for this one. Last week we winged the shit out of that, and it was really okay. It was okay. But I wanted to make sure I was giving you guys something you liked, so I want to make sure... Hey, babe. Hey, man. I want to make sure I give you guys some things that you like. I want to make sure that this content is something you guys enjoy. I also want to know what you're drinking. And from last week, I saw some of you don't drink. You're a little more herbal. We'll go with herbal. So I want to know what you're drinking down in the comments as well. But other than that, it's just about time. So let's drink. I'm going to wait for a couple more people to get here. No, we're not. We're at like 13, so screw it. Let's jump into it. This Thursday, Drunken Discussion, we're going over NPCs of Hollow Nest. So, there are a shitload of them. An absolute metric shitload. And so I had to narrow this down because I've got basically your attention for 8 minutes or so, and then you're probably going to leave. So, I narrowed it down to no bosses. Sorry guys, we will hit those another time. But bosses, I wanted to take out. I wanted to take out the Dreamers automatically. I narrowed it down to mainly no gods. I think I left one god on the list. But I wanted to strictly deal with NPCs that we encountered throughout Hollow Nest that somehow shaped our journey. And the way I kind of formatted that is I started up top of Hollow Nest and I worked my way kind of down and across. So where we're going to start off tonight is probably where we start our journey, even though it doesn't give it to us on the map, is the Howling Cliffs. And the absolute coolest thing in Howling Cliffs, in my opinion, has to be the Old Stag or the Last Stag. Name changes when you finally find the egg in Stagholm. This has got to be, well, he's the winner of our Pantheon of the D. But he was literally the coolest character, in my opinion, throughout it, just because he was so loyal. Also, let me know if you guys can hear me. Jeremy, you cuck, it's 2:30 a.m. I gotta sleep. Go to sleep, dude. Don't stay up for me. Talk about the egg selling nigga. Are you talking about Took down in the junk pit? It's actually not technically the junk pit, it's Royal Waterways. But I think you're talking about Took, which probably also goes into the comic book of Boone, if they're the same character or not. But we're actually going to start off with Old Stag. So like I said, he is the winner of our Pantheon of the D, so I know all of you want Old Stag's D, which I completely agree with you. Who doesn't want that sexy stag beetle mounting you? But it's amazing that no matter where we're at, he's called by the bell. No matter where you hit the bell, he seems to have that jog his memory, and he can distinctly find you. Which led me to an absolutely bigger question. Where the fuck is this stag before we call him with that first bell? Most everybody opened up, I believe, probably the first one in Forgotten Crossroads. That's usually where most people open it up. But I need to actually go back and do a run and never technically call him anywhere. Because I want to see if he's on such a journey to try and find Stagholm, where does he come from originally? So this guy kind of posed a question while I was trying to do all of this. He's super loyal. He says he was born and raised in Stagholm, or in Stagnest rather. But I want to know where he is before we ever meet him. he seems to have a memory loss, and whether that memory loss is due to possible infection or just old age. And yes, the infection does make us lose our memory. We can go into that more on a later one. But remember, you're being replaced by the Radiants. We'll see it with Mila a little later on. There you go. Spoiler, we're going to talk about Mila. Worthless fucking character. Piss somebody off. But where is Old Stag before we ever get him? Where is he? Just hanging out in the tunnel? What is he doing? And that's something that really somebody needs to run through and answer. He was probably wherever he was last. That's exactly my point, though. Where was he last? If we do a run and we open up all of the stagways, lacking Stag Nest, but we never actually call him, will we find him? Because he comes running out of the tunnel when we first call him, and I don't know that he necessarily is in any of those. And that means he's gone beyond Hallownest. And that opens up a whole nother world of questions that he himself actually validates. When we finally reach Stag Nest, he says that the other stags have ventured out farther beyond Hallownest, but he'll stay. His duties are to the stag lines, and he will do it until he no longer can. He tells us this in Stag Nest. So he's somewhere in Hallownest, and I would love to know where. So if you guys are up to it, do that run, see if you can find him. Another cool thing about the last stag, other than the name change, is the fact that this dude actually doesn't like Tiso. If you talk to Tiso up in Dirtmouth and you bring him down to the Forgotten Crossroads, he'll be sitting on the bench at the stag station, and the stag will actually comment that he doesn't like Tiso, but he will let him ride because his duties as a stag come before his personal endeavors, which just kind of solidifies that character. How could anybody not like the old stag going through? He's willing to literally die to carry you to wherever you need to be. That character was so well done, and he was such a key element in it. I would really like to see, number one, where he went, and possibly what came out of that egg in Silksong. Because no matter where we go, that's our constant. And I've made posts about it a couple times. Throughout my entire run of Hollow Knight, my whole fear was that I was going to hit that bell and he would never come. That the one thing we've grown to know wouldn't be there anymore. And that was a gut-wrenching kind of, every time I hit that bell, you just kind of wondered. But from the Howling Cliffs, obviously we jump down, we make our way into King's Pass. And there ain't shit in King's Pass unless we're going to talk about Mr. Mushroom and his fucking journey. But we're not! Because I already covered... Mossbag covered that. Mossbag covered that. Not me. Mossbag. So that video you can go see. But we make our way down into Dirtmouth next. And Dirtmouth holds some really cool characters. We have Elderbug, who, oddly enough, is probably the youngest bug in the game. We've got Sly, but I ruled him out because he's a boss. Yes, I counted Godhome, because obviously we're going to talk about Godhome here in a little bit. We have Zote, we have Tiso, we actually have a Ghost, we have Gigi, we have Jin. But the one I really wanted to try and take a look at was Bretta. Jeremy has Mossbag confirmed. You guys should collab. Oh, man. I don't think Mossbag actually knows who I am, and I wonder if my height would actually intimidate him. Because I'm a giant. I'm a literal fucking giant. But getting back, Bretta. Bretta was who I really wanted to talk about, because Bretta seems really surface level when you first meet her. And of course we first meet her down actually in the fungal waste, and she returns back up once we've rescued her to Dirtmouth. But there's a lot going on with this character that no one seems to talk about, and I've never understood why, because when we actually first rescue her, she actually mentions that she was with somebody, and that person forgot her like everybody else does, and everybody will, like we will. Yo, is that Hollow Knight from Team Cherry? That is Hollow Knight from Team Cherry. That's what we're talking about here. Hey, Pale King, how is the Inficide business going? I imagine it's going fucking smooth, except for the part where he dies. But Bretta actually mentioned she's with somebody. They forget her like everybody else does, and it's kind of just a sad moment until you actually dream nail her. And with that dream nail, I believe it actually says something along the lines of a shining figure. So radiant. And that's really interesting because we do know that she was being infected. We know that she was possibly turning, but she never did. And we only actually see that with one other character, and that's Sly. And we know that Sly is a god. And I've argued before that Bretta is also a god. And I'm kind of going to try and back that up here a little bit. If you want to see that, go over to the Look Deeper page. Try and read that. But I think Bretta's a god. And we can back it up with the Grey Prince Zote. Grey Prince Zote statue actually says he serves his queen inside her dreams. She has the literal power to conjure gods in her dreams. Something else really cool about the dream, I don't know if anybody's actually noticed this either. Bretta's design, her character design, changes from her dream version to her Dirtmouth version. Inside the dream, she actually grows, I think, an extra little sticker on her antenna, and the shell actually changes right down here. I think she goes from like 2 segments to 3 segments, or vice versa, one or the other. She gets a little more slim, basically, in her dream. But her antenna changed, which is a weird quirk, but they changed that design for some reason. But I legitimately believe she's a god. I legitimately believe she's a god and that she can conjure these things. And when she leaves, I would like to know more about where she went. What that's doing and what that's saying to us as a player, experiencing all of this, is that you've rescued another god. The same way we rescued Sly. Hollow Knight's really good about drawing parallels. I think I said that last week. I'm going to say it again this week. You can draw parallels from what you see to what you're going to experience. So when we first meet Sly up in the Forgotten Crossroads, we see he's becoming infected. We rescue him. He's fine. Then we see the same thing again with Bretta down in the Fungal Waste. She's becoming infected. We rescue her. She's fine. Jumping ahead to Godhome, we get to see that Sly is a god. Had Bretta stayed, I almost wonder if that Grey Prince Zote statue wouldn't have been a Bretta statue. Bretta statue, not yeah, you know what I'm fucking saying. Bretta statue. And we would have had a Bretta fight, which would have been possibly really cool. Somewhere in the comments I actually say that. She went to Silksong. I hope she did go to Silksong and have a lesbian threesome with Lace and Hornet. Man, I would love that. So you making more branches. Damn straight we're making branches. We're going to branch off in every direction. Also, guys, real fast, last week's Thirsty Thursday is actually now turned into a Look Deeper, and it's over on the Patreon. If you want to see it, awesome. I kind of comprised everything a lot cleaner, put it together there. This one probably won't become a Look Deeper, but I actually do have, I believe, 5 more on the slate to get done. Those are all released to the Patreons first. I'll talk more about that and the content creation at the very end because I want to keep you guys here for just the NPCs. Duh. You're sexy. You're sexy, sir. But moving from our Bretta, we can go directly over into Crystal Peak. And Crystal Peak really, I mean, we find Quirrell there. We find Cornifer there. But the character I wanted to talk about, I actually already told you guys, she's not actually found there. She's actually found in the Forgotten Crossroads, but I put her in Crystal Peak because her connection to the crystals is bigger than possibly any other character, and that's Mila. Like I